So ever since our Ecuador trip last year, I've been looking for an efficient way to back up photos and videos while we're traveling. On that trip, we carried a MacBook Pro with us, and we really only used it to get footage and photos off of our memory cards onto hard drives. We didn't even need the computer. So I've been looking for a way to leave the laptop behind, but still be able to back up all my media while we're traveling. And I think I finally got it figured out. So before I dive into the gear that you'll need to do this, I want to talk a little bit about why backups are so important. Early in my photography journey, probably my first year of shooting, I had a hard drive fail and I lost a bunch of photos. And they're not super important to me. I was still new and learning and they weren't great photos, but it did make me realize how easy it is to lose that sort of stuff, and it forced me to build good organizational systems and good backup systems to keep all my images safe throughout the future. And since that time, I haven't lost a single image. I have everything I've shot all the way back to 2008. So good backups are something that I really encourage people to get a handle on. All your gear, all your camera gear, everything can be replaced if it's stolen or lost, but those images, the images you take, are really these moments in time that won't happen again. So it's really important to protect that and have a good system that keeps all of that data safe. So a few basics to a good backup system. You have to have redundancy because you can't trust a single hard drive. They fail and then you lose everything. So you need multiple drives with your data spread across multiple drives. And then you don't want to keep all of that in one place. So you want to have some sort of offsite or cloud backup in case someone breaks into your home or there's a fire or something like that. You don't want to lose everything. My home backup system is, some people probably say it's a bit paranoid or maybe it's overkill, but I have multiple drives that everything's backed up to. I have a RAID system, which is an array of drives that stores as one data pool. And if any one of those drives fails, I can replace it and it'll rebuild all the data onto that drive without losing anything. But then I also back up everything that's on the RAID into individual hard drives, and I ship those offsite to my parents' house so that they're not stored in here. So if we ever have a break-in or a fire, I still have that offsite backup and I can recover everything from that and not lose any of my images, any of my video. It's all safe. So let's get into my little travel backup system. It starts with an iPhone. This is the iPhone 16, and you need one that has a USB-C plug in the bottom. So I think the 15 and the 16 have that. A lot of Android phones have that. So in this bag, we have two SanDisk SSD hard drives. One's a 2 terabyte, one's a 4 terabyte. I'll probably upgrade and just carry two 4 terabytes with me. And then I'm normally traveling with Amanda, and she would have a third drive, and we would keep those all separate in separate camera bags. We have an SD card reader. This is just the one made by Apple. Really any card reader works if it has USB-C. These are just the USB-C cables for the hard drive. And then this is what really brings it all together. So this is a Belkin 4 USB-C hub. This far right one takes power delivery or 100 watt PD input. So you'd plug this into the wall and it would power the hub, power all the hard drives, and it charges your phone at the same time. So with this, I can plug in power, plug it into my phone, and then I plug in both hard drives and the SD card reader. And I just use the Files app on the iPhone to copy all the data from that card over to the hard drives. And then once everything's off the card, I can take that out, I can plug in our third hard drive if we want, copy everything over to that. But this is a super useful little hub. Before the Belkin, I had one that didn't have power input, and it actually can't pull enough power from the iPhone to charge all these devices. So you need one with the power delivery. I'll link to all the different parts of this kit in the description down below, so if you have trouble finding your own, just click that link. This Belkin one has been working great, so that's the one I recommend. To test all this and show you how it works, this is just an SD card from my Fuji camera. We're gonna move some images over just so I can show you the whole process. So let's get into that. This is power coming from a wall outlet. We're gonna plug that in. And then we're gonna plug in our 2 terabyte drive. And we're gonna plug in our SD card and the card reader. We don't need that drive right now. And then in the Files app, we should be able to plug in this hub. You can see that it's charging with the power delivery, and untitled is our SD card. And then we should have the 2 terabyte pop up as well, right there. Perfect. So in this drive, I'm going to create a folder. We'll just name it 1019 for today. And then I want to go untitled. This is everything that's on the SD card. So this DCIM is the Fuji image folder. You can see all my images in here. I will just take that, copy it, go to my 1019 folder and paste it. And you can see now that it's copying over all the images from that DCIM folder. So I would go back and I'd also copy all those other folders over from the SD card just to make sure you don't miss anything. And I'm gonna cancel this because I don't wanna copy all those over. But that's pretty much what you do. And I would get everything moved over to this drive, make sure everything is good on there, and then I can just take that 1019 folder and copy it to the other hard drives that I have with me on the trip. And then once I'm sure everything's backed up, I can take that card out, put it back in the camera, and format it. So just to keep things organized, I would focus on moving all your card contents onto one main hard drive. Label that. I normally just use a piece of tape and write whatever label you want. But I would label one of them main drive and then backup 1, backup 2, or something like that. Right now, we're not trying to get photo and video super organized. We're not importing media. We're just making backups of the stuff that's on the card so that when we get home, we can organize, import, do all that computer stuff that we need to do. So I just copy every folder from your SD card to the hard drive. Just make sure you don't miss any of that data, and don't delete your card yet until you copy it to multiple drives. Once you're sure you have all your data on all of your drives, then you can put these back in your camera and format your cards. And it's important to stay organized. Typically, I'll try to do this every night while traveling and make sure that data is backed up to all your drives, and then actually make sure you format your cards, because if not, let's say you still have some space on that card, the next day you're gonna shoot more, and then when you go to copy it, you're gonna be copying the same data that you already have on the drives over and over, and you're gonna fill up your hard drives real quick. So it's important to stay organized and really not get lazy about doing these backups when you're traveling. Another thing I didn't mention, and one of the reasons I back up every day, or even if we have a break midday, I'll pull everything off the camera. The stuff that you have on the camera that day is pretty vulnerable until you have it on your hard drives, and then you have those hard drives stashed away somewhere. So I try to back up as often as I can, pull footage off the cameras as often as I can, just in case I drop one in the water or someone grabs my camera or anything that could possibly happen. At least you have multiple backups on your hard drives. One thing that I can't stress enough is even though you have redundant drives, you have to keep them in separate places, because if they all get stolen, you lose your stuff. So when we traveled in Ecuador, I would almost always have one of these in my pocket, and then if we went somewhere and we were leaving stuff back in the hotel room, I'd leave one in the room and have one on me. We also had a third drive that I just put Amanda in charge of. But then if we're gone and someone breaks into our room and takes a drive, we still have the pocket one. Or if someone mugs us and we lose our pocket drive, we still have one back at the room. So you want to make sure you spread this stuff out and have all your data in multiple places just in case. So once I have everything backed up on these drives on a trip, I get back home and I can really just use the main drive to pull all my data. The other ones were just backups. And I would import all my photos and organize all my video footage and run that through my whole home backup system, and then my travel drives are okay to be cleared off again for the next trip. So that's it for my travel backup system. Hopefully this is helpful to you if you're trying to back stuff up while you're traveling or just don't want to use a computer right away. If you want to see more of what I brought with me, the gear and some of the portraits I took on that Ecuador trip, check out this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.